Today, let's talk about Uber and Lyft accidents, what we call rideshare accidents. One of the first questions I always get is, where does the money come from to pay for the injuries that I received when I was in a wreck in an Uber or a Lyft? So let's look at the insurance policies that may be available. Assume, if you will, that it's the regular kind of case. Your Uber driver wasn't at fault. Somebody else ran a red light or rear-ended you. So they would be the actual defendant. So the first place the money would come from would be the defendant's policy. So whatever that person has in their policy would be the first level of insurance available to pay for your injuries. If that's not enough, then we would look at the car you were in. That's the Uber or the Lyft. Currently, Uber and Lyft only have $30,000 of insurance available to you when the Uber or Lyft driver is not at fault. If the Uber or Lyft driver was at fault, that bumps up to $1 million. We'll talk about that in a second. But in the usual case, someone else rear-ends you. We go to their policy. We look at the Uber policy of $30,000, which is going to $50,000 in January 2025. And if that's enough, then we don't need to look any further. However, there are many instances where the defendant is uninsured or underinsured, and the Uber policy of $30,000 is not enough for your injuries, so we need more money. Where do we look next? Believe it or not, we look to your own auto insurance policy at home if you have one. You say, wait a minute, it wasn't my fault. Why are we looking at my own insurance? Well, under Virginia law, the insurance company is required to give you uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage in the same amount as your liability coverage. So if you've got $50,000 of insurance, you also have $50,000 of uninsured and underinsured insurance. And that does just what it says. When the defendant is uninsured or underinsured, meaning they don't have enough insurance, you can access your own policy. Many people think, well, I don't want to hit my own policy, but you've been paying for that coverage every single time you pay your premium for years and years and years. It may be a type of coverage you didn't even know you had. And as a matter of fact, after decades in this business, I have never seen someone have a policy increase or lose their policy because they claimed uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. It's a secret that most people don't know, many lawyers don't understand, but at Rutter Mills, we are kind of insurance experts and a little bit of insurance geeks. We dig deeply into the policies and we find all of these things that will give you more money, more coverage to pay for your injuries. So, first stop, defendant's policy. If it's not enough, we try to add on the Uber or Lyft policy of $30,000. If it's not enough, we add on your policy. If that still does not add up to enough, we can then look to the policies of any resident relative. That's a legal term, and it means anyone to whom you're related and with whom you live. So if you've got a spouse or a child or a parent who lives in the same household as you, they have coverage like the uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage we just discussed that also protects not just them and not just people in their car, but anyone that lives with them if they're in a wreck without enough coverage. Again, it's a little bit of a secret. Insurance companies don't want you to know about it because they want to collect the premiums for you, but never actually pay for it. But we find this coverage and we will add it up to give you a better recovery. So, defendant's policy, plus the Uber policy, plus your policy, plus your resident relative policy. That's the strategy we use to collect the most insurance for you and your friends when you're injured in an Uber or a Lyft. Now, before I close, I want to change the scenario for one quick second. Let's say that the Uber or Lyft driver was at fault. They're the one who ran the red light. They're the ones who rear-ended somebody. Or let's say they were even partially at fault. If it was 10% their fault and 90% somebody else's, you can access a different part of the Uber or Lyft policy, and that's $1 million. Now, Interesting fact also, we had this case probably a couple of years ago where an Uber driver injured two people on a sidewalk but did not have any passengers with them at the time. So Uber said, we're not involved. It's just the Uber driver and his own policy, which at the time was $30,000. However, we found deep into a multi-hundred-page policy of Uber a paragraph that said, if the driver had tapped the screen to accept the ride, even if they hadn't picked up the ride yet, the $1 million of insurance was in place. So we got the data from the phone and the screen and the car of the Uber driver, paired that with the policy that we subpoenaed from Uber, and had much more money available to our clients. And that case settled for over $900,000 when Uber tried to tell us at the beginning that our clients would have to share only $30,000. So if you're in a rideshare accident with Uber or Lyft or a taxi or anybody else, call Rutter Mills. We know how to find the insurance policies and the coverage to help you, your family, and your friends get full compensation for your Uber ride injuries. Thanks.